Alright guys, so today is currently September 23rd, 2024, and today I took a short position on NASDAQ 100, which resulted in a $1.30 win. As you can see there, very small, but I took the trade, so I have to record it. So basically, the whole trade idea is that price swept the previous high. I was looking for price to continue lower because we were also bouncing off this order block. And then on the 15-minute, we also have SMTs. So this is NASDAQ 100, SMTs going down, and then S&P 500 SMTs going up, right? So at this point, we have SMTs, price is rejecting the hourly fair value gap, and I'm looking for price to continue lower. So I mark out the 9 a.m. high and the 9 a.m. low. Let's go to the lower time frame. So at first, I was looking for price to sweep the 9 a.m. high and then continue lower to the 9 a.m. low, taking out this sell side liquidity down here. And as you can see, we did not end up doing that. Basically, my entry was right over here. We had a break of structure. Price retraced to this very tiny fair value gap up here. Right over here. And that's when I took my entry. I set a limit order and I set my stop loss above the hourly fair value gap up here. The risk to reward wasn't great, but I just didn't want to get wicked out again. So basically, we got entered into the trade. We went into a little bit of drawdown, and as you can see here, once price started to continue lower, that's when I moved my stop loss to this area up here. And once we hit the 2-hour mark, that's when I decided to move my stop loss to break even, right? And as you can see here, we moved stop to break even, and price bounced off this 1 minute order block and went straight to my stop loss, which is why it resulted in like a $1 profit. We were up around I'd say around $70 at one point. And honestly, I did not want to take partials because honestly, I don't know. It was only 1.3 lots, like one lot, or yeah, 1.3 lots. So taking partials, like, it wasn't ideal for me, right? But obviously in hindsight, I definitely should have. But yeah, so I'll play price forward. And honestly, like, I'm not saying I should have taken profit earlier, because once I saw the rejection off the order block and the break of structure, that should have been an indication that price would have went to break even. So that should have been an indication, but you know, I didn't want to move my stops back up here, right? Because, you know, usually when price reverses, it's a sign that it's going to continue higher, right? And I didn't want to, you know, lose money for no reason. Or I didn't want to go against what price was showing me, because at this point, price is rejecting the order block and breaking structure to continue higher, right? So yeah, we got stopped out on this trade. It is unfortunate. It sucks because, you know, I could have definitely used the profit, but you know what? It is what it is. So I'm just going to play price forward. And as you can see, we ended up hitting TP originally, or hitting our initial TP. Honestly, think that this would have been a pretty clean trade, but you know what? I was just following the rules of moving stops to break even once we hit 2R. So, you know, it is what it is. And honestly, if I did leave my stop at the previous high up here, I probably would have gotten wicked out for a loss, but like just due to slippage. But yeah, I mean, that'll be all for now. The idea was there, you know, I did manage risk pretty decently, so I'm okay with this. I'm definitely okay with how the trade played out. So yeah, I'll catch you guys in the next one. Alright guys, so today is currently September 24th, 2024, and this morning I took two trades. One resulted in a $56 loss, and the other one resulted in a $99 win. So basically, this trade was kind of discretionary. As you can see here, we had resting buy side, right? once price continued lower, we took out sell side and price rejected off this order block. So, I was targeting buy side up here. All right, so on the 1 minute time frame, as you can see here, we have low resistance buy side liquidity up here and up here, right? As well as buy side resting all up here. So as you can see here, the first trade I took did result in a loss. I was honestly targeting the tops up here once we swept the 9 a.m. low. And once price started to reject off this hourly order block, there was a fair value gap that I took a entry off of. We got stopped out pretty quick. And at this point, we start generating more low resistance buy side liquidity. So here is when I took a market entry. It wasn't based off of any like break a structure, retrace into fair value gap. I just took the order, or I just took the entry because I don't know. I honestly did have conviction in it for the countless times where I have gotten stopped out for price to continue higher. And honestly, every time I see this, like this diagonal resting buy side up over here and here getting generated, that's when I'm just like, okay. Usually when this happens, I notice price ends up continuing higher. So I just took the market order. And my stop wasn't this close. It was like, I had a $50 stop loss, right? And the initial TP was up here. So I was risking $50 to make, I think, like 160. But, as price slowly continued higher, I did move the TP down here because I didn't want to get too greedy and I didn't want price to retrace, right? And continue lower. Basically, I was up $99. I just had to take it. That's 1% on the account that I wasn't willing to risk because, there were times where I was up and I literally just didn't make anything because price reversed on me. So, as price continued higher, we moved the stop loss to the low over here. And yeah, we made 1% on the account. So actually, that's a lie. We took the loss earlier, so we're only up like $43 on the day, but it's still profit. It does suck we did get stopped out here, but you know what? We're still positive on the day. I'll take that. And as you can see, we did clearly miss out on quite a bit here because price ended up continuing higher, taking out all this buy side over here. But you know what? It is what it is, guys. That's how it goes. Let's just be happy we ended off the day with profit instead of a $56 loss. Anyways, guys, I'll catch you in the next one. All right, guys. So today's currently September 27th, 2024. And the past couple of days, I took 3 more trades, which all resulted in losses. And honestly, I absolutely hated how I performed. Like it was actually just gambling. And I am kicking myself pretty hard right now. So yeah, let's just get into it. Basically, we took 3 losses. And the first trade was a $56.80 loss. So let's just head to the charts and go over them. So basically here on the 1 minute time frame, we have the 2 a.m. high and the 2 a.m. low marked, right? Price swept the 2 a.m. high, came down, went back up again, and basically we had displacement over here. There was honestly, looking back, I wouldn't consider this a break of structure. It price should have closed below this at least, right? But basically, once price did displace lower here, we didn't really get a break of structure, but I set the limit order for this area right over here. So I set the limit order right over here, and as you can see, price came all the way back up and we got stopped out, rightfully so. I did reduce the position size because usually the stop loss would be at this high right over here, but I reduced the position size so that the stop loss would have a little bit more room. So on the higher time frame, I was just looking for price to continue lower to at least the 0.5 area right over here. So here's the 15-minute equilibrium, and then I believe this one was the 5-minute equilibrium right over here. So on the 5-minute, I was looking for price to draw towards this inefficiency or fair value gap and this equilibrium area right over here. price just continued higher. You know, my problem is I noticed that I always want to get into the trade. So whenever I think I see a break of structure, I just take it, right? Because I'm like, okay, price might continue without me, which it has before, but I have to really honestly become more patient when it comes to that. Like, I should honestly wait for a 5-minute break of structure before even entering. Like, it's honestly pretty bad that I'm just setting limit orders based on nothing, really. Like, there's really nothing there. Like, this would have been a great break of structure, strong displacement break of structure, and probably wouldn't have gone entered into this trade because, you know, it was start of New York, but also price would have never retraced into this fair value gap. But yeah, I mean, this trade I could have definitely done a lot better in terms of entry, and I think risk management was okay, but still, like, yeah. Let's just move on to the next trade. Alright guys, so moving on to the next trade, I took a long position, which resulted in a $55.20 loss. So basically the whole idea was that we have 9 a.m. high, 9 a.m. low. I was looking for price to retrace towards this 15-minute equilibrium, as well as this fair value gap, to potentially bounce off and continue higher. And again, for this trade, honestly, this one was just straight gambling. Like, there was no entry signal, and I just did a market order to continue higher. Like, we didn't even have like a fair value gap bounce or anything. We just I literally just took the entry. And my thought process was that, okay, we have resting buy side here, resting buy side up here. I was looking for price to bounce off this higher time frame, this 1 hour fair value gap. But if price continued lower, I was looking for price to bounce off the equilibrium and this other fair value gap right over here. But as you can see, we went straight to our stop loss. And the thing is with this trade, I like actually did not even have a stop loss for this trade. I was just clinging on to hope at this point. Most of the times what I notice is that price usually stops me out and then continues to my initial take profit, which is why I didn't have a stop loss initially, right? So price came all the way here. We took an entry, price went straight down. And at this point, I'm like negative $300, which, like, I honestly would have blown, I thought I would have blown the accounts because I only had like 500 to risk, right? And we were down 300 on the day. And I literally, like, I just kind of prayed. I just sat and prayed. Like, this was straight gambling, and I'm pretty disappointed in myself, honestly. So at this point, price comes all the way down here. We're negative 3% on the account, which is $300. And yeah, I mean, I just prayed. Price came up, price went all the way back down and came back up again, right? And at this point, I set the stop loss at like negative $56 or something. So like, I was just honestly lucky enough that price retraced all the way back up to hit the stop loss. This trade was actually so bad. No entry signal. Took a market entry, hoping that price would continue higher. We did not have a stop loss. We were negative 300 at one point, and we were just so lucky that price came back up, and we only took a $56 loss. What am I doing, man? You know, I'm definitely slipping. And in that moment, when I was negative 300 on the account, I was actually like, I remember being in this position when I like first started, which was like last year, right? I didn't have a stop loss, and I just remembered like, I honestly hated that feeling, because honestly I got very lucky with this trade, that we minimize the loss, but this could have just wiped me out completely. I remember how much I hated the feeling of being in this position again. Made me remember how much I actually hated the feeling of being more negative than what you're willing to risk. And yeah, it does suck that I do go on losing streaks, but I'd rather go on a losing streak than have this happen to me again. Like, I need to have a stop loss. Because right there, that would have been 3% on the account, which would have been 6 trades, right? So, yeah. Just thankful that we were able to minimize the loss, but what I did was honestly, like, I honestly hated myself for doing that. But yeah, I mean, let's just move on. I also forgot to mention that this was a clear accumulation, manipulation, and distribution. Honestly, I should have taken a continuation trade lower. Like, yeah, I mean, that was just something I noticed. Alright, so on the last trade, I took a $53.55 loss. As you can see here, marked a 9 a.m. high, 9 a.m. low. Honestly, did not have much conviction in this trade. We had SMTs form right over here, which indicates price would continue lower. We did not have a breaker structure, and yeah, I mean, so here's the 1 minute time frame. Price came up here. This was not a breaker structure, but on the 5 minute, like, this is literally nothing. There is nothing here. And, you know, I was hoping for price to continue higher to take out the resting buy side, but we clearly did not. We just got stopped out and price just continued lower. I just feel like for the past couple of days, I've been on tilt, not gonna lie. I've been on tilt. And honestly, like, I'm just gonna take a break on the weekend. And honestly, I need to discipline myself like a lot more, because what I'm doing is I'm literally like straying away from the path to becoming a profitable trader. And, you know, there's honestly no excuse. I'm just not disciplined enough yet. And it's something I have to work on. So, yeah, I mean, that'll be all for this trade. Anyways, guys, that'll be all for this video. I honestly don't even feel like saying I hope you guys enjoyed, because I didn't do anything. I just literally gambled. And I got lucky in terms of we didn't take like a massive loss, because it honestly was pretty big when I was in drawdown. Open P&L. I just have to honestly take accountability, and because, like, honestly, at the end of the day, like, it's not affecting you guys. Like, the only person it's affecting is me, and so I have no one else to blame but myself. And honestly, that's why I feel like pretty disappointed in what I did, because I straight up just reverted back to the old me, right? And the thing is, like, I know better, right? It's like when you know better, but you do something that goes against it. It's honestly the worst. That was just straight tilt, honestly. Anyways, guys, thank you so much for watching. For those of you who are on the same journey as me, just try and stick to your plan. Try really hard to discipline yourself, to not revert to your old self, you know. You have a plan for a reason. You have a strategy for a reason. Just follow it. It'll honestly save you a lot of stress. Because when I was in that $300 drawdown or open loss, like open P&L loss, I was stressed, right? That would have been like blowing up an account for no reason. That would have been wasting money. After like all this time, it was blown for nothing. Like, or it would have been, right? And honestly, that's not worth it at all, considering the amount of time that I've put into this account. I mean, even though we're currently pretty negative, like, it's showing no improvement. So yeah, just stick to your strategy. Admit when you have a loss. It's better to just cut the loss than to have it, you know, continue lower, and then you all of a sudden either blow the account or you're risking more than you would have preferred. It leads to stress, tilt, and you just stop following your strategy. Like, you're just praying that price will come back up and you'll break even. So yeah, just stick to your plan. Anyways, guys, thank you so much for watching. And yeah, I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace.